Hey guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today I'm gonna bring you my April TBR. I have about 7 books that I would like to get through for this month. So without further ado, let's just jump right into this. The first book that I wanna finish in the month of April is Refugee by Alan Gratz. I started this the end of March. I was trying to finish it for middle grade March, but unfortunately I still had like 60 pages when I needed to finish it. So I actually have already finished this because it's like, we're already like a week into April. I will have it in my April wrap up. I had predicted 4 or 5 stars, and of course I did give it 4 stars. I really enjoyed it, but you'll know more about it the end of April. Moving on. This is a middle grade historical fiction that is actually based off of real events. It follows 3 different characters from 3 complete different timelines, 3 refugees that are children, probably between the ages of like 12 and 14. One is a boy from Germany during the Holocaust. One is Muhammad, who is a 2015 Syrian boy. And the last one is a Cuban girl set in the early 1990s, trying to escape from Cuba. The next book that I want to get to in the month of April is The Girl in the Tower by Catherine Arden. This was on my TBR for the month of March. And because I really focused on March for middle grade reads, I didn't get around to this, but I have already started it. I am about halfway through. I am really liking it. I love the Russian folklore. I love the atmosphere. I love the adventures that this young girl, Vasilisa, is going through, and I cannot wait to see how this second book in this trilogy ends. So far, I'm kind of liking it more than book 1 already. Anyone else feel that way? The next book that I would like to get to in the month of April is All the Missing Girls by Megan Miranda. This is going to be my reread for the month of April. So if you've been following me, you know that for every month during the year of 2019, I want to try rereading some of my books because I don't ever reread, so that's like one of my goals. I gave this 3 stars about 3 years ago. I, for the life of me, cannot remember how this one ends. I am listening to it on Audible. I'm liking it so far, so I'm curious as to why I gave it a 3, but maybe it has to do with the ending. We shall see. This is a adult mystery thriller about a girl that comes from a very small town. Her friend, when they were about 18, went missing. Fast forward 10 years later, her friend was never found, but she's having to come back to her small town to kind of help take care of her dad, who is now in a nursing home for dementia, as well as just trying to get her father's house ready to sell so they can get money to afford keeping him in this nursing home. And then while she's there, another girl goes missing. So a lot of things start to bubble up to the surface, things from past 10 years ago of her best friend that went missing, and then now a newer girl, and it goes from there. The next book that I would like to get through in the month of April is The Wrath and the Dawn by Renee Ahdieh. I have not read any books from her, but I've heard so much about her as an author, and I have heard so much about this book. It is a duology. There is another one called The Rose and the Dagger, which I do have. This I'm actually buddy reading with my mother-in-law. So for the whole year of 2019, my mother-in-law and I have picked particular books that we want to buddy read every month. So we pick one book, and so of course this will be this month. Next month will be The Rose and the Dagger. Where is it at? The Girl in the Tower. So The Bear and the Nightingale was our pick for January. This was for February. I know it's April. She's already beat me to it. She's already read the entire trilogy. So I'm trying to play catch up for buddy reads. I'm sorry, Mom. I suck at buddy reading. And then of course for March, our buddy read was The Winter of the Witch, which is the 3rd book. I'm gonna get to it. But this is our April pick. This is a YA fantasy. Is that an airplane or a lawnmower? Is someone mowing their lawn? No, it's an airplane. That sounds really weird. It's probably like, no, it's a helicopter. That would be our hospital, their helicopter, like Lifeline. We live like only a few blocks away from the major hospital here in my town. Anyways, off subject. So this is a retelling of, I think, 1001 Nights is what it's called. So it's kind of got that Middle Eastern folklore thing where it is a prince who takes a new bride like every night, and then the next day he like kills her. This young girl who is our main character, I believe, if I'm telling this right, don't kill me if I'm not saying this right, one of her friends or her best friend becomes one of these brides and is killed, so she decides to kind of infiltrate herself and is picked up as a bride, starts telling him stories, and he's loving her stories, her storytelling so much that he doesn't kill her for multiple nights or something like that. So I'm excited to get into this. I really hope I like it because I've heard so much about it. It has been so hyped over the years on BookTube, so I'm a little nervous. What if I don't like it? I guess we'll find out. The next book that I want to pick up in the month of April is Siren by Angie Sage. This is book number 5. You gotta love using natural light. Keeps changing on me, damn clouds. This is book number 5 in the Septimus Heap series. I really enjoyed book 1 and 2. Book 3 and 4 were like, they were okay. They were like 3 stars. But there are so many things that I need answered from book 4 that I'm really hoping they are in this next book, because I need to know some, like, just certain things that should have, like, I feel like should have happened in book 3 and 4 are almost not even mentioned. So those things that were mentioned in book 1 and 2, if they are not in this one, I'm gonna like blow a top, because did the characters just forget about these things? Did the author forget about some of the things that, I don't know. I'm at a crossroads right now, but I'm hoping in book 5 it'll kind of redeem itself and it'll start to kind of backtrack from some things that have still not been explained from like book 1 and book 2. We will find out. I love the whole Septimus Heap atmosphere and the vibe and the family aspects and the relationships. Like, his best friend in these series are seriously giving me like Ron Weasley vibes. I love his friend Beetle, who was a ton in book 4, so I'm hoping to see more of him in this as well. I guess we'll find out. So this is a middle grade fantasy series that is set in a completely different world. Like, there's no such thing as like your normal everyday humans on Earth. It's like its own magical system with wizards and dragons and potions and spells and castles and whatnot and weird creatures and adventures, and I'm really hoping book 5 picks up. What number is this? How many have I read? I read 5 or 4? I'm so bad. Does it tell you? They don't tell you, like, ooh, here we go. 1, 2. Oh, this is number 7. The next book that I want to get to in the month of April is The Dead in Their Vaulted Arches by Alan Bradley. This is a Flavia de Luce series that I have been reading for quite a while now. Has it almost been a year? This is book 6. I think book 10 just came out, like brand spanking new. But this is book 6. So the last time I read Flavia de Luce was, I think, December. And it left on the craziest cliffhanger that I was like, oh my gosh, I'm so glad I have the next book because I have to know what's gonna happen, what I need to know. And then suddenly it's like April and I haven't even picked up the next book, even though I desperately wanted to just dive into it after the 5th book. And I've just had so many other books that I kind of just kept getting like shoved to the side, like I'll get to it. Well, this month, I'm gonna get to it. I'm excited because I have got to know what's gonna happen after that crazy cliffhanger in book 5. So if you are unaware, Flavia de Luce is a young, she's like 12, 13-year-old girl who's just obsessed with like chemistry and poisons and death, and she's just a little Sherlock Holmes kind of girl. She's definitely the black sheep of her family. And death kind of seems to follow her wherever she goes, like just murders and weird cases, and somehow her little sarcastic, sassy self keeps finding her way into finding clues and doing a little detective work, and she's just obsessed and enamored by it, and I love it. These are, I want to say I've been finding them in the adult section at like Barnes & Noble, but I believe these are more like your high middle grade, lower YA mystery crime fiction book. It does not read like an adult book, especially where it's kind of from the perspective of like a 12, 13-year-old girl, but she's dealing with like adult things, you know, murder, death, suicides, bribery, that sort of stuff. And so I want to say it's like your higher middle grade, early lower YA kind of feel to it. I'm really excited to get into this one and see what new adventure Flavia can get herself into. Son, come back. God, Idaho and their damn, like Idaho seriously is the most bipolar state when it comes to weather. This morning, it was like raining / trying to snow. And then for several hours, it was really bright and sunny and warm outside. It got up to like the 50s. And then suddenly it is now cloudy and gloomy again. And I'm just like, I'm so ready for summer. I can't take this anymore. My eye is twitching. Can you see that? Can you see it? I don't know. The last book that I want to pick up in the month of April is the Michael Vey series. This is book number 5 by Richard Paul Evans. Is this 5? Yes, 5. Walter, no! So this is book 5 in the Michael Vey series. I haven't picked up this series probably since I read the last Flavia book. So it's probably been like January. I think January is when I read book 4. This one is called Storm of Lightning. It is a YA magical, fantastical realism kind of series. So it's set like in real world, like our times. These kids that are in this group with Michael Vey they have electrical powers, but of course each kid has a different electrical power. No one's actually kind of the same, and they've just been pretty much trying to escape from these bad guys that want to use them as like science experiment and maybe start an army of electrical kids. But at the same time, Michael Vey and his group of friends are constantly not only trying to get away from the bad people, but they're also trying to like save others with their powers as well and track them down and save them or save others that are being affected by these bad people. And so their adventures are always crazy. I love the sarcasm that is in this. Michael Vey as his character is, he's just snarky and funny and sarcastic. So I'm really, really liking this series. What's not to like? So there you have it. Those are the 7 books that I would love to get to in the month of April. Let me know if you have read any of these. and let me know. I'd like to know your thoughts and opinions, but please just don't give anything away. I will link my Instagram and Goodreads link down below if you would like to follow me on other social media platforms. And thank you so much for hanging out with me and let me babble on about books I want to get to. And I will see you guys in my next video. Bye.